welcome you all to our first um, Ulysses Currie Head Start State Supplemental Grant Customer Service Session. I am going to give another one more minute before I start the presentation. But I am Vanessa Jones, the Education Program Specialist here, also responsible for overseeing the Head Start State Collaboration Office in the Division of Early Childhood. And one of my responsibilities with that role is to oversee the Head Start State Supplemental Grant, as well as other Head Start grants and programs that we offer here at the Maryland State Department of Education. So, as I stated, I'm going to give it one more minute to see if anyone else comes on to join us, and then we will get started. We have a PowerPoint presentation, and at the end, you are able to ask questions, and you can also put your questions in the chat, and we will answer as many questions as we can today. And if we're unable to answer the questions today, we will get the answers to you, and they will also be posted on the MSDE website. So they will also be posted on the MSDE website along with the transcript for or the recording of this customer service session. So added a couple more people. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to present the PowerPoint from. Are you all able to see the presentation? Because can you let me know if you can see the presentation?
I don't see anything on the screen.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. We're on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So again, today's session is for the Ulysses Currie Head Start State Supplemental Grant Program. We are going to review the purpose, the eligibility and requirements, the application, the grant application timeline, submission requirements, grant review process and scoring rubric, as well as next steps and program support. So the purpose of the Ulysses Currie Head Start State Supplemental Grant. As you all know, the grant is administered here at the Maryland State Department of Education in the Division of Early Childhood. It is to provide funding for existing Head Start and Early Head Start programs, and it's to build on the foundation laid to enhance service delivery, instructional practices, and school readiness by expanding services. And according to the Maryland Code, Education 5231, the governor shall include in the annual state budget an appropriation of at least $3 million for the Ulysses Currie Head Start program. MSDE is responsible for developing the grant requirements as well as administering and monitoring the grant program. What do we want programs to do? We want to look at programs using this funding for high quality programming and learning experiences. What does that look like? There's three opportunities. Expand your hours of service by increasing the hours of the program day for children and families from 3.5 hours to 6.5 hours, or from 6.5 hours to 10 hours. Also, extend the program year by adding 4 to 6 weeks of summer programming for children and families with targeted supports for children who may be transitioning to pre kindergarten or kindergarten, or children who receive additional educational developmental support. We also provide opportunities for quality enhancements, such as professional learning for education staff to enhance instructional practices in early literacy, math, and social emotional learning, as well as salary enhancements to retain education staff. So these are the three ways that this funding can be used. Eligibility and requirements. So, who may apply? Head Start grantees can apply to extend the hours of service, expand the program year, professional development, and or salary enhancement. Early Head Start programs can also extend hours of service, professional development, and salary enhancement. The expand the program year is not provided to Early Head Start grantees because they are already on a full day programming. So they can extend their hours of service to include additional hours for families who may need it, or they can use the funding for professional development and salary enhancement. Program eligibility. This funding opportunity is designed again for existing Head Start programs, early Head Start programs. And what you need to do is demonstrate your current federal compliance as a grantee or delegate. You want to participate in Maryland Excel's program, as well as identify how state supplemental funding will enhance program quality and school readiness outcomes. Program requirements. Again, program requirements are expand the hours of service, full day to meet the needs of children and families. With Head Start, having no less than 6.5 hours and no more than 10 hours a day, and early Head Start, no less than 10 hours per day. Extend the program year. For the summer, you can offer a 4 to 6 week program, and the summer learning is for targeted support for all children with specific populations of children, no less than 4 weeks and no more than 6 weeks. Quality enhancements include professional learning opportunities for education staff focused on their instructional practices in early literacy, math, and social emotional learning. You can also use it as a salary enhancement, one time benefit to retain education staff. The program must be participating in Maryland Excel, and you have to identify how the proposed programming aligns with the statewide system development goals. Application overview. We are going to examine specific parts of the application and provide some explanation of those sections. So a complete application is your cover page, project abstract, extensive needs, evidence of impact, program information and projected enrollment, goals, outcomes, and milestones, as well as your plan of operation, key personnel and timeline, evaluation and dissemination, budget narrative, and budget narrative, and appendices. That's what a completed application will have. Those are all the sections you will have in your application. This information is also provided in the grant information guide. But to give you a little overview of each section, the cover page you all have submitted for this grant before, and you know that there's a cover page, and the cover page must be completed in full. Your project abstract. It introduces your program and the proposed project. It's very important that you give as much detail as possible because you cannot assume that the persons reviewing your grant application packet are familiar with your program. You want to put in as well your extensive need. This describes how your funds are needed and how they will support quality programming and school readiness outcomes. Evidence of impact. Describe your program's history in implementing such programs that you are proposing to implement. Describe how the proposed program will lead to the desired goals. You have to provide goals and show how will they lead to the goals that you are identifying. You want to provide program information and projected enrollment. Some programs have multiple sites, and if you plan to use this funding across all sites, you need to put all sites in the program information chart as well as the information that is required. Or if you're targeting specific sites, you need to include those sites on that form. And for the next section, goals, outcomes, and milestones, you want to clearly identify your goals and objectives that you plan to achieve at the end of this grant period. Your plan of operation, key personnel, and timeline is exactly what it says. You want to identify how you will accomplish the goals and enhance school readiness outcomes. You want to show your staff what they are responsible for and how that will lead to successful grant implementation as well as monitoring of the grant requirements. You want to identify those key tasks and activities that will need to be conducted throughout the life of the grant. And when we say the life of the grant, it's from the date the grant starts, which would be July 1, 2023, until the date that it ends, September 30th, 2024. And then there's the evaluation and dissemination. You want to describe how you will evaluate the project and ensure continuous quality, impact, and effectiveness. And this plan must detail how the data, findings, and reports will be made available to pertinent stakeholders such as MSDE, your parents that you serve, your community partners. Next is your budget and your budget narrative. You want to provide a detailed description of the requested funds that will be spent by the designated categories. And the budget must be reasonable, allowable, and cost effective. And along with the application, there are appendices that you must attach. So you have to attach all supporting documents with the application so that it could be considered in the review process. If the required appendices are not attached, the application packet will be considered incomplete and will not be scored. So now we're going to look at the application timeline. The grant opened on June 20th and it will close on August 22nd. So, MSDE, we are hosting 3 customer service sessions. Today is the first session. The next session will be held on June 28th, and the final session will be held on July 6th. Application period closes on August 22nd. We will begin reviewing applications for completeness and minimum requirements on August 23rd, and let the inform the review committee of how many proposals there are and start distributing those proposals to the review committee panelists. The award notification will be provided to eligible programs by on or before September 19th. And the grant period begins July 1, 2023, and will end on September 30th, 2024. Submission requirements. We're going to review the instructions on how to submit your application for the Ulysses Currie Head Start State Supplemental Grant. An electronic grant application form is provided on the MSDE website, and interested applicants must download the application, attach any supporting documentation as appendices, and submit the packet in its entirety in a PDF format. Applications must be typed and presented in an organized and professional manner. The prescribed cover sheet must be the first page of the proposal and signed by the head of the agency. Along with your application included, you must have your grantee assurances. You must agree to comply with the terms and conditions of receiving the grant, and it must be signed and dated by the head of the agency. The grant review process and scoring rubric. The grant review process is a two-part process. Applications will be pre-screened for submission requirements and inclusion of all required sections. If an applicant does not meet these pre-screen requirements, the application packet will not be reviewed. The review committee will be established here at MSDE, and they will evaluate each application using a scoring rubric. The scoring rubric is 3 levels. It exceeds criteria, meets criteria, or does not meet criteria. Those are the 3 levels that will be scored. And this is a sample of the actual scoring rubric. The entire scoring rubric is available in the grant information guide, which we call a gig here at MSDE. But this information is in your the grant information guide. So you can see that there are different levels in the scoring rubric and different things that need to be there. If there's everything included in the grant application, the scoring team, you will more than likely receive a level 3, which exceeds criteria. If there's a little more added to the grant and is clear and concise to your application packet, level 2 meets criteria, and then level 1, if a program receives, all does not meet criteria, the program will not be considered for funding. If a program receives a combination of level 2, level 1, and level 3, there may be some additional information requested by the review team, and you'll have an opportunity to submit additional information. But if that does not occur, then your program will not be considered to receive funding. So next steps in program support. The application. The next step is to download your application packet, review the grant information guide, make sure that you understand everything that is being asked of you. And if you have questions, you can always send an email or attend another grant information session that's coming up. But your first step is to download the grant information guide along with the application, review all of the documentation and review the application guide, and then prepare your application and submit it by the timeline, which is August 22nd, 2023, no later than 5 p.m. And it's Vanessa.Jones, number one, at maryland.gov. Don't leave the number one off, because if you do, it will not come to me. Award notifications. The award notification of awards will be sent by email within 30 days after the application submission, and the processing of the official notice of grant awards, which we call a NOGA, it could take anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before the NOGA is submitted, not submitted, before the NOGA is processed and you receive notification of the NOGA. But you will receive notification of award stating that you have been approved to receive funding, and that you will be able to start the program and submit your invoices and everything as soon as the notice of a grant award has been completed. Again, the grant timeline is July 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. Once you are awarded, there are reporting requirements. Fiscal and program monitoring is ongoing throughout the life of the grant. It is expected that the program, the applicant, the grantee, will monitor the project fiscally as well as programmatically to ensure that the goals and objectives are being implemented and carried out. Programs are also responsible for submitting to MSDE the interim progress reports, which you will receive with your notice of grant award if you are awarded funding. You need to submit 2 interim progress reports, and then you will submit a final report, which is the MSDE C-125D. And your final report is due on November 30th, 2024. And that covers the entire grant period. It also provides the project evaluation and your final invoice. It is very important that grantees adhere to the reporting requirements. If reporting requirements are not adhered to, programs could be at jeopardy of being placed on a risk list, as well as having to receive additional monitoring from MSDE. Program support. MSDE will provide ongoing support throughout the life of the grant. What we plan to do is review the programmatic reports, review invoice and supporting documents that are submitted, as well as host virtual and on-site monitoring visits throughout the life of the grant. You all can request a technical assistance session at any time during the life of the grant. If you have questions about the program and about invoicing, if there are situations where you feel that you're not going to be able to meet the grant requirements, it's important that you request a technical assistance session and not wait until September of 2024. You want to get that done way in advance so that we can brainstorm any opportunities that we may have to assist you all with your meeting your goals and your objectives for this grant. So if you have questions about the application or process, again, please contact me, Vanessa Jones. Email is vanessa.jones, number one, at maryland.gov. I can also be reached by phone at 410-767-0602. So that ends our slideshow, but this is an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you may have. So I will open the floor to you all. Don't tell me y'all didn't hear me through this whole thing because I can't hear.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was me. I was,
Okay.
I was just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be taking down any questions and we're going to have them
Hmm.
posted onto the website.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hmm.
So the floor is open to all participants. If you all have questions regarding the application, the grant information guide, please ask your questions. It may be helpful for the entire group.
Vanessa, this is Cindy. Can you hear me?
Yes, Cindy, I can hear you.
Can you go a little bit more in depth on, you were talking about the salary enhancement.
Hmm.
Talk a little bit about that. I didn't see anything in the packet about it.
So, okay, well, okay, so salary enhancement would be if you all wanted to do a one time like salary adjustment for your staff to keep them on board, like to because we know that staffing is a challenge right now.
Mhm.
So some programs are offering. I know Head Start has been allowing you all to do different enhancements to give to education staff. I know in the past you all have been able to use this funding to increase the salary of the staff. You have your base salary, which is provided through your federal funds, and then you give an additional on top of that to kind of compete with, I guess, the other entities that exist. So that's what that would look like.
Okay,
And
so
then if
it's
you
not,
choose to hire someone to work in the classroom, an additional person to work in the classroom, and you use this funding to cover that person's salary, you would need to show that in the grant.
okay, okay. So it's
Hmm.
not like a retention bonus type of thing.
I mean, I guess it could be called that, but we call it a salary enhancement.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Right.
Good morning, Miss Jones. This is Aisha. I have a quick question. Thank you so much for your information that you give it to us. Appreciate it. Quick question is that I have a child care learning center, and also the non-profit organization for children. So, do I eligible for that, or just for the Head Start can apply for it?
Yes, this grant is specifically for Head Start and early Head Start programs that are recognized through the federal government. So each state, and Maryland has been providing this funding for a number of years. Each state has um, I guess, uh, said that they would contribute a supplement to Head Start and early Head Start programs. So this is a supplement for those programs that are operating Head Start and early Head Start programs in the state of Maryland. Now, for child care programs, there are a number of grants that are available through the Office of Child Care, and you can find those on the MSDE website. I believe there's a quality incentive grant as well as like a accreditation support grant if your program was going through accreditation, state or national accreditation. You could submit for the accreditation support grant, and there may be a number of other grants that I'm not as well versed in, but you can find other grant information on the Maryland State Department of Education website for specifically for child care providers and early learning programs. And you can also speak with your licensing specialist. He or she is a resource to you and will be able to guide you in the right direction because they may have a little bit more information than I do.
Perfect. Thank you so much,
Hmm.
Ms. Jones.
You're
I appreciate
welcome. You're
it.
welcome. Hmm. So I'll wait online for a little while. I don't know if some people may come on later, but this is an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you have, and an opportunity to have your questions answered today, or at least an opportunity for us to know what your questions are. And if we don't have the answers, we can research the answer and get the answer to you as soon as possible. Well, I'm not going to belabor this. So, you all have my information, Vanessa Jones, and I can be reached by email at vanessa.jones1, number one, at maryland.gov, or by phone at 410-767-0602. Thank you all for participating in this customer service session, and we are here to support you throughout the process if you have additional questions or concerns. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.